Or okay, or you can go through the apps launcher, and right here you can see your Google Classroom. It's much more easier from here. All right, so let me walk you through the Google Classroom. Now, your Google Classroom is a one-stop shop for everything classroom. Here, you can add your students, add teachers, okay, all your resources, all your lesson plans, your notes, and everything can be saved and stored in the Google Classroom. So I want you to think of Google Classroom as your online classroom. Now, looking at this now, at the left hand side, you can see the home, you can see the calendar, and you can see the classes. Okay, you can see the classes that I teach. It's also interesting to note that you all have already been added to the classes that you are going to teach, okay, or that you teach already. And so, on that note, you're going to see something that looks like this. This is SS3 Art Data Processing, SS3 Art History, Human Husbandry. And what it means is you're going to see all the classrooms that you belong to. Now, this plus sign here is where you can create a classroom. So in the event that you need to create another classroom, you click on the plus sign, create classroom. Here you add your class name, the section, the subject, the room, and then you click on create. Automatically your class will be created. You can also join classrooms. Okay, so you might want to join a classroom of another teacher. All you need is just the code. And of course, you have instances where a student will tell you they are not in their class, and for them to join your class, all they need to do is click on the plus sign, click on join, and you give them the code. Now, what does the code look like? Let's go into SS3 Art Mathematics class. All right, so this is what the code looks like, the class code. So it's just a combination of numbers and alphabets. That's what the class code looks like, and that's what you'll be giving out, okay, for anyone who wants to join your class. Now, taking a look at Google Classroom, let's look at the four sections. We have the stream, the classwork, people, and grades. All right. The stream is like the social part of your Google Classroom. Here you can drop announcements, okay, to different classes. You can select which student you want the announcement to go to. If it's for all the students, you click on all students. Here is where you get to announce anything to your students. Mind you, the students have already been added to the classroom, so anything you post here, they will automatically see it. You can also go ahead to add a file from Google Drive, which we'll look at later on. You can also upload a file from your computer and you can add a link. After that, you click on post, or you can choose to schedule it. Let's take a look at classwork. Okay, cancel. Classwork. All right, so for the classwork, this is where as a teacher, you create all your assignments, quiz assignments, questions, materials, reuse post. You can reuse a post. You can create a topic. Like I said, think of this as your online classroom where you have all your resources in one place. Before I walk you through creating any of these assignments, let's take a look at people, the people tab. So here in the people tab, this is where you get to find out who are your co-teachers. So in this classroom, these are the co-teachers here. Okay, there's more. You can click on more to see more, and here you can see that there are a lot of teachers in this classroom. So you can also go ahead to invite a teacher by clicking on this plus sign here. Once you know the name of the teacher, just type it, or the email address. You type it and then click on invite. The teacher gets a notification that you are inviting him or her to your classroom. And so the teacher accepts to join. All right. Next is the students. So here you can see a list of who is in your classroom. Okay. And then you can also, with the plus sign here, you can invite students to your classroom. You can share this link and have them click on it to join, or you just type the name or the email of the student and then you invite the student. Okay, so next is the grades tab. So with the grades tab, this is where you see all the grades of students that have attempted your assignment. Because we don't have that available, that is why this space is empty. All right, now let's go back to the most important part of using Google Classroom, which is to create assignments. Okay, share these assignments to your students and have them do the assignments and hand it in back to you. All right, so clicking on create, let's start with assignment. So with creating assignment, here you can go ahead to type the title of the assignment, give instructions of the assignment. You can choose to upload a file. It could be a document, it could be a presentation, okay, from your Google Drive. You can choose to upload from your computer, choose from your drive, choose from your stored files in your drive, or you can choose files that were shared with you. You can also choose to create a fresh document from here, or create a slide or a sheet, a drawing, or a form. You can choose to upload from any of these sources. You can choose to add a link and have your students click on it. All right. So, yeah, this is SS3 art class. Okay, civic education. All right, so let's just say we're creating this assignment for mathematics. Yeah, mathematics class. And the title is quadratic equation. So that will be the title. Then here you can give instructions. Although it says it's optional, but I usually like to give my students instructions so they can get to know what to do and how to go about it. So I could say click on the document to create, click on the document and provide answers to the questions in it. Okay, I'll just correct this. All right, so now the student knows that, okay, there's a document that I need to click on and then they will need to look for that document. So I can go ahead to create document here. Okay, now it takes me to another tab. It takes me to Google Doc. Possibly on this document, I already have my quadratic equations problems here. Okay, and then go back to this tab. Here you can see that the document has been created and then you have a few options. Student can view file, student can edit file, make a copy for each student. Now, mind you, this is a worksheet where I want the students to write on. And so the best thing I want to do is I want every student to have a copy. Okay, so remember, it's one document. All the students will have access to it and they will want to write on it. And so you want to make a copy for each student so they can go ahead to write on it and hand in. But if it's just a document you want them to take a look at, then you can choose student can view file. Then you can also choose student can edit file. Okay, just like it's a worksheet, students can also go ahead to edit a file. But I like to have students to have their unique copies. Now, after that is done, you can go ahead to award points. It could be 20 points. You can give a due date, okay, the day they ought to submit this work, and you can add a time as well. This box close submissions after due date. So if I click on this box, it means after Friday, October 20th, 11:59 p.m. submission this students will no longer be able to submit their worksheets. So here I can go ahead to create a topic. I could choose to use this as well. Create topic, quadratic equation. And then here I can choose which student I want to assign this assignment to. Now, in the case where you are doing practicing individualized learning, okay, where some sets of students are not learning exactly the same thing others are learning, then you can go ahead to select which student you want to assign this work to. Otherwise, you can just choose all students. Okay, now after that, you can also go ahead to assign it right away. You can choose to schedule it, okay, for a date ahead of time. So okay, since they are going to submit it on Friday, you can go ahead to post it today. You can save it as a draft, or you can discard that draft. So I will just schedule that for today, but at a later time. At a later time, I'll do that again. 5 p.m. So I'm sure students might still be in school now. You let them know that okay, once they get home, their their assignment will be posted. Okay, so this is scheduled. Right here, you can see the assignment that was just created. You can create a quiz. A quiz assignment automatically creates a form for you, a Google form. Okay, on this Google form, this is where you create your questions using different question types, and of course having students to select the options and hand it over back to you. Okay, so that's basically that for quiz type of assignment. Then we have the question assignment. So with the question assignment, you can just write a question, okay, and then choose how you want the question to appear. Should it be a short answer question or a multiple choice question? And remember to add your options so that each student will be able to respond to it. And then your grading, the due date, and the topic. The next is material. So you just want to upload something for your students to read and go through. Then you click on material assignment, and then you have it posted. You can choose to reuse posts. Okay, so by reusing a post, let's say for example, um, this week we're learning quadratic equation, and possibly in the 12th week, which is revision week, I can just go ahead to reuse this post. Okay, instead of creating a whole new class altogether, I can reuse this post and ask students to go through it to revise for their exams. So that is where reusing a post comes in handy. And of course, here you can just create a topic and arrange all your subjects, okay, all your topics under it. Okay, so I think that is that about Google Classroom. Okay, right here, you can just scroll through to see the classrooms you're in.
Just 1 minute, Victoria. Just to check whether they're still there. Um, Tusi, are you guys still there? Okay, they say go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So we're done with Google Classroom. We're going to go over to the next. All right. So I need to mention finally before I leave here. From the Google Classroom, you can create a Google Meet link automatically and have your students join your meeting. Okay. And so on that note, so yeah, you can ensure to leave this visible to your students so that they can always click on it to join. So on that note, the next we're going to talk about is Google Meet. We're going to talk about Google Meet. And of course, to gain access to Google Meet, all you need to do is go back to your app launcher and click on Meet. All right, so this is what you're going to see. So Google Meet helps to connect your school community with video for classes, parent teacher conferences, professional development, and more. So I want you to um, think of the usage of Google Classroom for not just with your students, but also for conferencing, even with your in your parent teacher association. All right. So now, taking a look at this, you can create a new meeting in three ways. By creating a meeting for later, all you're going to do is create a link that can be used for later. Create a meeting link that can be used for later. You can choose to start an instant meeting or schedule a meeting in your Google Calendar. But for the purpose of this class, we're going to with start an instant meeting. Okay, so what I will be doing with Google Meet here is to walk you through the tools that are available, okay, for use when you eventually get to use Google Meet. So here you can see a box that says your meeting is ready and your joining info with others can be shared, which is what you have here. So you can choose to copy this and share it with others and have them join. All right, let's take a look down here at the different controls that are available on Google Meet and how you can use them. So the first one is the microphone icon. This helps you helps people in the meeting to hear you speak, to hear you when you speak. And so it's currently white, but if you do not want to speak, just click on it, it turns red. What that means is you are currently on mute and no one will be able to hear you when you speak. The next is the camera. Okay, this camera will turn off your camera and no one will be able to see you in the meeting. So I just turned off the camera and right now my video is no longer showing. So always keep in mind that when it turns red, it means that it is currently off. All right, so let's talk about captions. What caption does is to write what you're saying on the screen. Okay, sometimes it helps people who possibly is not understanding what you're saying or you're speaking too fast and they just like to read. It's like your subtitles in movies. Okay, for this to work, I need to unmute my microphone and here you can see that the caption has been turned on. All right, so let's move on. So I'm just going to turn it off so we don't get distracted. All right, so the next one is the emojis. So emojis are really fun and interesting item here, okay, that you can use to engage with your students. You can have them share emojis in the meeting or even in your meetings, okay, and then that way it keeps it really fun and engaging. So the next one is the present now. The present now presents your screen, your computer screen, just like you are seeing mine. Okay, so there are three things you can share. You can share a Chrome tab, you can share a window, you can share an entire screen. So from your Chrome tab, all you need to do is just click on any of the tabs on your screen and you can see a preview right here. Click on any of that and then click on share. Click on share and then automatically members in the meeting will see your screen. If you have a video to play, remember to share the tab audio as well. You can share a window or you can share an entire screen. The next is the raise hand. Okay, so the raise hand can be used to maintain orderliness in your meeting, or possibly when someone has anything to say, the person indicates by raising a hand and then you can give the person an audience. So raise hand is a really great feature there that you can use in your classroom. The next one is the chat. So the chat helps you, okay, to communicate with members in the meeting. So with the chat, you can send a message, you can have people respond, okay, and then once you are done with that, you click on this arrow to send your message. Everyone in the meeting automatically gets to see the message. Of course, there are other activities you can add in your meetings, whether it's with your students or amongst yourself as teachers, which is the whiteboard. Okay, so the whiteboard is a collaborative board that helps with sketching ideas, brainstorming, and of course, working together as a team live. So we are going to take a look at it in the coming times. All right, so that is that about Google Meet. Okay, and all you need to know is just how to explore these features, the school features, and how you can use them in your meetings. All right, so I'm just going to end this particular meet and then we'll move on to Jamboard. All right, so just like I said, Jamboard is a digital whiteboard that lets you collaborate in real time while using the Jamboard. Okay, it's think of your whiteboard in the classroom. Think of Jamboard as your whiteboard in the classroom, but this time it is digital. So what I'll be doing in this Jamboard session is to walk you through the tools that are available and how to use them, and of course, share a few activities, creative ideas on how you can use Jamboard in your classroom. All right, so to get started, we have the pen tool. So the pen tool can be used to write on your screen. First of all, um, give me a moment. Okay, let's create a new frame. All right, so this is what your Jamboard looks like. It looks like this, white, okay, and here you can have different pen tools depending on which one suits you best. Marker, the pen tool, and the different colors you can use. So here I could choose to use this to write, but that color or the pen doesn't seem to do justice to this. So I can choose to use this to write. So if you're someone that have a really good grasp of your mouse and can be able to write on your screen, go ahead to use the pen. Next is the eraser. It works just like the eraser that we know and we can find. Next is the select. So the select helps you to select items on your Jamboard. And the next one is a sticky note. Okay, so the sticky note can be used to add ideas on your Jamboard. And of course, you can choose the different colors that are available and you click on save. Okay, so here you have it. You can do so many things to this. You can choose to expand it, you can choose to duplicate, delete it, or you can edit right from here. Now, that is the sticker note. Another thing you can do here is you can add images. Okay, you can add images to your frame, that's to your board now. You can add a link, you can add a you can use your web camera to take pictures. You can get pictures from Google, you can get pictures from Google Drive. So let's say, for example, we want to use, let's say science class is studying about the flower. Okay, so I can go ahead to click on this, and then here you have one. Click on it and then click on insert. So you see, I've been able to add an image on the board. And of course, Jamboard can be used for brainstorming. Here, you can now go ahead to ask students to give their opinion, share their ideas about this kind of flower. You can also add shapes. Yes, you can add shapes depending on what you are working on with your students. So these are just the things that are possible and available with Jamboard. You can also add a text box. A text box helps you to write on the board. So all you need to do is just draw the text box on the board and then you write on it. The next one is the laser. Okay, the laser works almost like your pen, but in this case, it disappears as it moves along. Oh, give me a second. All right, so yeah, the laser works almost like a pen, but in this case, it disappears, and it can be used especially for annotation. So, say for example, you're explaining something to your students, you can use this to annotate on your screen, okay, and have them focus where you are pointing at. All right, so that being said, those are the tools that are available on Jamboard and how you can use them. So let me share with you different activities that you can try out with Jamboard, depending on the subjects that you're teaching. Okay, so you can have a brain dump activity where you have a picture on the board, okay, and you have a question and you ask everyone to use a sticky note to drop their answers, okay, and then there you can have persons give their opinions and share their ideas. So here is the annotation station. Okay, in this case, there are two pictures where students have to spot the difference. So they can use this laser to spot that the first lady is smiling and the second one is frowning. Okay, so they can use that to spot that as well. Okay, so we have the sorting wall. Okay, so this is just an instance where we have the noun and the verb. Now take note, this can work for just any subject. You just need to be creative about it. You have the noun and the verb, and you have several words on the board. So now you ask your students to drag each word to where it belongs. So teach is a verb, it goes this way. Learn is a verb, cat is a noun, Mary is a noun, monkey is a noun. So what it does is your students just sort what is already on the board. So we have the sticky graph. So in this case, we have what kind of pets do you have? So I already had these images on the board, and then I now ask students to use sticky notes to place their name on any of the images based on the pets that they have. So here you can see that this cat, Josephine and Sarima has a cat, Osinachi has a rabbit, Wenga and Sandra doesn't have a pet at all. So that way it gets really interactive. So the math is not left out. The math teachers. Okay. Here you have a graph and then you've asked students to find the slope. Okay. Once you find the slope, use your pen tool to draw the slope on the graph. So when every student gets to draw different lines on the graph, that way you can get to measure how much of the students got to understand how to find their slope or got the nearest answer. Okay, so those are the different activities you can try out with your students using Jamboard. All right, so I hope that is clear. Okay, so we'll move on to the next. All right, so for the next one, we are going to be looking at Google Calendar. Now, as a teacher, managing your time, okay, and staying ahead of time is really, really important. Google Calendar will help you not just manage your time, but also manage your task, okay, and manage your to do as well. All right, so let's go to um, Google Calendar. Once again, to get to Google Calendar, calendar.google.com, or you click on the app launcher, and then you can see all your events. Okay, so this is what Google Calendar looks like. So you can view your calendar by day. Okay, you can view it by day, depending on what works for you. You can view it by week, you can view by month, you can view by year. Okay, depending on how you want to view the calendar. So I'm just going to leave it at month. So in this session, I'm going to show you how to create a task and also create an event using Google Calendar. All right, so to get started, at the left, you will see create. So you can create an event, focus time, out of office event, working location. You can create a task, you can create an appointment schedule. So we'll start with an event. Okay, so here all you need to do is just type the title of the event. So I'm going to type this. Science exhibition. Okay, here I indicate that it is an event, and then this is where I set the date. Okay, so this is going to take place on Friday, which is the 20th. And here you can indicate the time, which can be 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Okay, do you want this event to repeat daily, weekly, on Friday, monthly? If it's daily, you go ahead to click on daily, but it's a one-off thing, and I'm just going to say do not repeat, does not repeat. Yeah, you can add guests. So by guest, I mean you can add people who will join you in the meeting. All you need to do is get their email addresses and add these guests. Next is you can add a Google Meet video conferencing link where you can share it to people and they'll click on it and they will join the meeting. You can add a location if there's a physical location. You can add description or attachment. Okay, possibly a very short note describing what the event is about, what to look forward to. Okay, so after that, I can go ahead to click on save. Automatically, I can see it in my calendar. 10 a.m. science exhibition. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is to create a task. So let's say, for example, you have a task that you need to complete at a certain period of time and you need a reminder to help you with that. You can go ahead to create a task, you add the title, remember to add the date, the time, okay, and the frequency. Is it going to be daily? Is it going to be weekly? Is it going to repeat? And here you can add a description, maybe a short note that you need to keep in mind, okay, while completing the task. And of course, you click on save. All right. So basically, that's just how to create events on your calendar, and of course, to click on save. So let's say, for example, you created an event on your calendar and you want to go back to view it to actually get the link to join. All you want to do, okay, so let's try this. So when I click on this, I can see the event on my calendar. When I click on it, you can see join with Google Meet. And then I can just click on join with Google Meet and automatically it takes me to Google Meet where I get to interact with every other person that's in that meeting. Alright, so that being said, that is it about Google Calendar. I'm just going to pause here now to be sure that I still have you all together. Okay. Alright, so let's head back to the training. Alright, so the next product we want to look at is going to be Google Docs. Google Docs. And once again, to have access to Google Docs, all you need to do is click on the apps launcher and then you click on Docs. Alright, so your Docs is like every other word processing out there, but this time you can work collaboratively on the document, and of course, this document can be saved in your Google Drive. Alright, so to get started, you can create a blank document, you can create documents from a template. So a template is already designed for you. All you need to do is just erase the text, change the pictures, okay, and make it yours. Let's take a look at one of the templates, which is this. All right, so here you can see this template looking really nice already. Okay, all you need to do is just go scroll down, take a look at it, and then think of what you want to create. Will this template be suitable? Otherwise, you might want to try other ones. Okay, so by doing that, you can just erase all of this text. Let's say I want to create, let's say I want to create a lesson note, okay, on Google Docs. So all I need to do is just create it. Click on the template, it brings me here. I can change this picture to whatsoever I want. I can change the text as well, okay, and then make it look exactly the way I want it, okay, suitable for what I want to do. So that is that about template. Let's go back. Just a moment. Hope I find the screen. Okay. All right, so coming back to Google Docs, we want to create a blank document. That means we want to start from afresh to create this document to suit exactly what we need. And so to get started, I can go ahead to type whatsoever I want to type. So Google Doc have some few formatting tools that can help you to format your document by increasing the font, changing the font itself, making it bold, italics, underline. You can change the text color. Okay, so these are quite a few of the formatting tools that are available here. Okay, so always remember to rename your document so that it can be easy to find in your Google Drive. Let's take a look at this also interesting tool, which is called voice typing. The voice typing helps you, it converts your speech to text this time around, converts what you say into text, and that kind of helps to relieve you of so much typing. Okay, all you need to do is just speak and then it will appear as a text. All right, so there are other options here that are available that I would like you to try out and explore and see how it can be helpful in your teaching career. All right, so the last thing I want to show you is how to collaboratively share this document. Okay, so Google Docs is just like every other word processing software there, but it offers you ability to collaborate, okay, as a team, even from a distance, okay, even at the same time as well. So here you can add people using their email addresses. Here you can see who has access to the document already. Here you can see who has general access to this document already. So here it's already been set to viewer. Okay, anyone within Federal Government Girls College, Buhari, okay, and who is a view can only view this file. Okay, I could choose comment, that means the person can comment on it. I could choose editor, that means the person can edit on it. But I do not want anyone to tamper with my document, and I'm just going to leave it at viewer. So you can only view and then you move on. Alright, so that being said, I'll click on done. Okay, and that is done. So that's pretty much about Google Docs. Okay, all you need to just type format, and anything you do is automatically saved. So you have no reason. Okay, so you have no reason to worry. Okay, everything you do there is automatically saved. All right, so let's move on to the next, which is Google Slides. Just a moment. So once again, to gain access into Google Slides, all you need to do is go through your apps launcher, select Slides, and then it takes you into Google Slides. All right, so Google Slides is like your presentation software. It helps you to design your presentation, okay? And there are different templates you can choose from. You can choose from various templates, or you can choose to just create a blank one. That's more like starting afresh. So by clicking on the blank one, let's get to see what we'll find. So this is what the blank presentation looks like. So here you have your slide title, you have the subtitle. At your right, you can find different themes that are available, okay, for use when creating your presentation. So I'll just go ahead to select one, this one. All right. So let's say we're creating our lesson plan using slides. Once again, I'll use this as my title. I can choose to use this as my title. Okay, and the next thing I want to do is to add a new slide. In that new slide, I want to add more information. So I click here, new slide. All right, so now we've seen that there are themes, we've seen how to add a new slide. Okay, the next thing we want to do is looking at what kind of things can we insert on our slide. Apart from text, you can add images, you can add text boxes, you can add audio, you can add video, you can add shapes, and so many more. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how to add an image. An image. Okay, let's go to the web. All right, so let's say we're looking for the flower again, flower pictures, and then we go with this. So right here, we'll be able to add a picture on the slide. Okay, We add a new slide. This time, let's add a video. So here you can choose a video from YouTube or even from Google Drive. Okay, so whether it's in your drive or whether it was a file that was shared with you, you can go ahead to insert a video. All right, so now you've seen that you can create slides, you can change the theme, you can add images, you can add videos, and of course try to keep your slides, your slide points short, okay, and try to make it really bright and colorful, okay, that'll be attractive to your students as well. One more thing, the share. So I mentioned that with Google Slides you can collaboratively work on your slide. um, Save this. So here you can add people, okay, you can add people who you want to share the slide with, or you can choose to give your school the viewer access. That means anyone in this group, anyone in your school, will be able to view this slide with the link. So there are different roles you can assign to anyone you want to share this with. That is the viewer, the commenter, or the editor. As the name implies, if you give anyone the viewer access, that means the person can only view the slide. Anyone who is given the commenter will only be able to comment, to view it and comment on your slide. Then the editor can actually make changes. So mind you, you need to be mindful of who you want to give access to your files. Okay, so once you've written the name of the person or the email address, you can click on done. Okay, and that is done. All right, so let's go to the next one. Google Drive. Let's go over to Google Drive. So your Google Drive is your cloud storage, okay, that holds and stores all the files that you're ever going to create in the Google Workspace for Education. Okay, so all I'll need to do here now is just walk you through what Google Drive looks like, how to organize your files, and of course, how to share these files as well. So with Google Drive, all you need to do is click here and come over to your drive. Okay, so by clicking on new, you can add a new folder. So let's just say this folder is going to be called English language. Just correct that. So right here, you can see that the English language folder has been created. Okay, so here you can see suggested files that they look. You can see suggested files that possibly you have modified over the course of maybe a week or even today. Then the next is you can see all your files that you have created in the Google Workspace for Education. Let's keep our eyes on the left side. Here you can see shared drives, you can see files that has been shared with you. You can see recent files that you possibly must have opened. Okay, you can see starred files. Now, starred files are files that are important to you and you just want to star them, possibly to help you not to search for it in your drive. All you need to do is just come look for it in your start section. And then you have the spam, the trash, and the storage. Okay, so now let's take a look at one of the files and see what we can do to this file. So look at this file that we just created recently. Oh no, not recently. Okay, yeah, recently. The essay using the template. By clicking on these three dots here, we can download this file, we can rename it, we can make a copy, we can share this file or copy the link, we can organize this file, move it, add a shortcut, add to our start, or even add it to our workspace. You can get information about these files. You can make it available offline. By making it available offline, it means that you will be able to access this file even when you are offline. You don't need to be online. Okay, so now for this first one this first file that we're currently working on, let's try to organize it. Since it has to do um, with something around science, so all I need to do is click on science and then click on move. Automatically it moves into the science folder. All right, so another thing you can do is, once again, copy the link of this file and share it with other people to be able to go through it. Or by clicking on share, which is the same thing we did when we were talking about Google Docs and Google Slides. Once again, you can choose to share this file right from here. Type the name of the person or the groups, and of course, choose the access level you want to give the person. Once you're done, click on done. All right. So Google Drive is your storage space. Okay, that stores all your files in one place and of course help you to collaboratively share these files amongst your students. Okay, so that's pretty much about Google Drive. I'm just going to check to be sure you're still there. Okay. All right, so let's move on to the next thing. Next thing we want to talk about is forms. Remember when we were in the Google Classroom, okay, and taking a look at the different assignments that you can create? I also mentioned that Google Forms is one of those assignments that you can create, okay, create quizzes on. So I'm just going to walk you through how to go about that as well. So this is your Google Forms, and of course, to get to it, click on the app launcher, and then here you can find forms. You click on it, and then here you can have access. So of course, there are always templates you can work with. So do you want to create an exit ticket or an assessment or a blank quiz? You can go ahead to select which one that you're looking to create. But if you already have an idea of what you want to do, all you need to do is choose the blank template. So I'll choose the blank template. All right, so this is the blank template, and this is what it looks like. So here on your Google form, you have three tabs, which is the question tab, the responses tab, and your settings. Okay, here in the question tab, this is where you set your question. At this top part, maybe this is where you can write the name of your school, or the title of the assessment or the quiz that you're going ahead to create. Okay, so you can say this. All right. Yes. So here you can give a description of the form, maybe by giving instructions, and of course use the formatting tools that are available here to create, to edit and format your work. Let's start with the first question. Okay. So for this first question, I could say 12 divided by 3 plus, okay, and then I give my students options. Okay, so let's say these are the two options that I have. I can choose to add an image as well by going to Google Images. Okay, I'm just going to use anything at random just to show you that adding images is possible. So I can choose this, click on Insert. Hmm, that didn't work. I'll try again. Sorry, the tab just kept. Mm, the tab closed. I need to open it again. Oh, okay. All right. So I chose this. Okay, I choose this. Something went wrong. Let me try another picture. Something went wrong. Okay, for some reason I'm not able to upload images. All right. Let's look at the different answer types. Okay, that you can create on your quiz. So you can choose the short answer. Okay, by short answer, you give your students the opportunity to.
Sorry, Victoria. Which are you logged on to one of the schools? Victoria, you said
Sorry,
you
how do you mean?
you said you couldn't upload an image.
Yes, you said something went wrong.
Are you logged on? Which ID are you using?
I'm using my account, the Buari.
Okay, and have you tried to upload anything else?
No,
Can you do that again? Let me see the message. What message did you get?
said something went wrong.
Something didn't tell you what.
No, he just said something.
Okay, so that might be probably from your.
Okay.
Okay, go on.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you have different question types that you can ask your student. You have the short answer question, and so for every question you ask, every question you ask, you have to noticing something here. Just give me a moment. Um, okay, we'll start again with a new form. So let's just say this is basic science. And then there's a form description. And then we're asking a question around the galaxy. What is the planet closest? Which of the planets is closest to the sun? Okay, so there's no need for this since I have my options. Okay, let's see if I can add an image again. So I'm just going to add an image of the galaxy. I'll just choose one. Insert. Okay, this worked this time. So yes, you can see that the image is too big. You can click on it and then with the handles, adjust the size accordingly. Okay, so I've added an image and then here I can choose a short answer. I can choose to give a short answer. I can duplicate this question. Question one. Okay, I can duplicate this and then this required means that this question is a required question and the student cannot skip this question. It must be answered. Okay, this helps with handling situations where some students will miss answering a question and then you're wondering as a teacher how to handle that or have the students go back to the form, okay, to answer those questions. So keep all your questions as required. You can choose to ask paragraph questions. So paragraph questions allows your students to give you long answer. You can use this especially when you want to get opinion of your student over something, okay, or you want to check their grammatical um, structure, okay, of their sentences, so you can go ahead to award them marks. Then the multiple choice questions, which we all know. Okay, so here we could start with Mercury, Venus, Mars, and so on and so forth. So you can go ahead to include as many options as possible. Okay, so we have the checkbox. The checkbox is almost like your multiple choice, but this time it's just a box. Your checkbox is just a box. And of course, you can add images as your options as well. You can add images as your options. You have the drop down and every other type you can always you can try to every other type of question you can go ahead to ask. Okay, so that is that. So let's say we have one multiple choice question. Let's take a look at these drop downs. So here, by clicking on this, you can add a new question. You've created the first one, you want to create the second one, you can add a new question. You can import questions. Yes, by import, let's say you already have a form that have the questions that you want to add.
Hey, one hour, please. The network is down. Let me connect with this.
All right, can I go on?
So, Tosin, when did the network go off?
Hello. Hello.
When did the web network go off?
Hello.
Yes, can you hear me?
The network we are. I want to.
Okay. We'll wait for you guys. You say you can go on.
Okay, okay. All right, so I'll just continue. So yes, I was walking you through how to create a quiz. You can use a form. Okay, you can use as a quiz or for assessment. All right, so I just noticed something. When you're creating a quiz, first thing you want to do is go to your settings and check this box. By checking this box, it will automatically grade your questions. Okay, it automatically grade your questions and give you the opportunity to add an answer key. Okay, so now you've created the questions, you have your options. You want to tell the form which one is the correct answer because everything will be done automatically, the grading will be done automatically. So by clicking on the answer key, you can go ahead to award points. Is it going to be 2 points, 1 point, 3 points, depending on your grading system? Okay, and if the answer is Venus, you select Venus. If it's Mars, you select Mars. If it's Mercury, you select Mercury. Yes, you can actually have two correct answers in your options, but remember to indicate in your question that there are two options, that you should choose two options. So if it's Mercury, you can keep it at Mercury and say done. So automatically, once a student gets on this form and begins to select the answers, it gets graded 2 points for each question. And of course, the form already has been told, okay, has been marked to know which answer is the correct answer. All right, so you can go ahead to create as many questions as possible using any of those question types I've talked about. Responses tab show you the responses you've received, okay, from everyone who filled the form, and you get to see what time they submitted. Okay, you can get to see their scores and a graphical representation of an average, okay, average score of each student. That way you get informed as to whether they understood the topic or possibly they are not faring well with your teaching style or even with the topics that was taught. Next is settings. So yeah, settings is very important. With the settings, remember to check this box. And there are quite a few settings here, missed questions. So there are times where a student will submit the form and must have missed a question or failed it. So the student can always go back to the form, refill the questions, get it correctly after he must have seen the correct answer, and then submit it again. But if you do not want all of that, okay, you can set your form to not receive responses after submission. Here, correct answers. Respondents, which is your students, can see correct answers after their grades are released. Point values. Student can see the points for each question. Okay. So here you can also set default question point value. You can set it to anything you want here, but please take note that for every time you create a quiz, a form, it will use this point value and you might want to have to change it. So responses, do you want to collect emails? Do you want to send responders a copy of their response? Do you want to allow them to edit it? You can go ahead to all of that. Do you want to restrict your form to only users in your school? And here you can limit the form to only one response, just like as I was saying. Okay, your student can only fill the form once and that is it, not anymore. But if you want to give them the chance to go back and keep trying, then you want to uncheck this and keep it open. Okay, so we have just some presentation, how you want your form to look like when students are filling the forms. And then you have some form default settings and some question default settings. So your settings are important. And finally, once you're done with creating all your questions, always do a preview. Preview shows you how your form will look like to your students. Okay, so the form will look like this. Which of the planet is closest to the sun? So your student can choose to select any one of these. Okay, and here it goes, and you have submit. So you see, I cannot submit because this is a required question, although there's no question there. You must submit, answer this question for you to be able to move on. So that's pretty much that about Google Quiz. So it will be really nice if you can go ahead to explore Google Form rather. Explore Google Form for your quizzes and for all your assessment as well. All right, so I'm going to stop here now. It's 4 p.m. So Mr. K,
Yeah, Tosin, any questions from you guys? Let me stop closed caption. And I'll stop recording as well.